Hi guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, the rain has stopped. Thankfully, it's 35 degrees here in Australia on a very, very sunny, hot and humid Saturday afternoon. In fact, it has been raining for so long that with the sun now coming out for the last 2 days, my grass has grown so much. And I cut this about 5 days ago, and look at it, and I cut it like proper short, like a golf course. Would you look at this? And as we get further back down here, look how like just mad it gets here, like next to the water tank, and all in the back just gets like there, like water pools there and kind of floods in the back of the garden there. And it's absolutely mental. So like I said, it's 35 degrees today, and the thermometer app I have on my phone says feels like it's 40 degrees, and I concur with the app. It definitely feels like it's freaking 40 degrees. But I've got a pretty cool video for you today, so let's cue the intro and then get stuck in with some of the work that we're going to be doing today. Now I gotta ride or die. All right, guys. So first up, I'm going to show you what I've been up to. You guys know that I painted the block and I painted the cam cover or rocker cover. When I painted it last time on last video, I was letting it dry and a fly landed there and another one landed here and a mosquito landed in there. So I had to sand it back and start again, but I did that and I'm really happy with how it turned out because I sanded all the way back. I put 3 coats of this grabber green paint on it. I'll show you that. This grabber green VHT engine enamel. And then I let that dry and bake in the sun, and no flies landed on it, thankfully. And then I hit it with a high temp clear coat lacquer as well. And I haven't lacquered the block, and you can see the distinct difference in the block and the cover. So I reckon I'm gonna mask everything up again and hit the block with some lacquer because it just really makes it pop that little bit more. But I've been pretty busy on the car today. I've taken out almost the entire wiring loom. So everything for behind the dash, I'll go around the other side. And you can see everything's gone from here in the fuse box area. So all of the wiring loom for the clocks, the ignition barrel, the center console, all that kind of stuff is gone because I am wiring in a Haltech Elite 750 and I'm going to be using a IC7 digital dash as well. For those of you in the UK that don't know what that is, I'm going to put it up in the screen there in the corner so you know what an IC7 digital dash looks like. So that's up in the screen there now. So I basically just removed the whole wiring loom because there was no point having it, as you can tell, because it's just going to get in the way and, you know, like it'll be like an absolute bird's nest of wire and shit down there. But yeah, it's the inside of the car. So it doesn't look too bad around the fuse box. It's actually pretty good, which I'm happy with. If you remember, all these bits were like rusted and pitted with chips out of them and all that. So all I did was I sanded that back. So first off, I hit it with the wire wheel and then I sanded it back with 240 grit, 400 grit, 800 grit, and then 2000 grit, wet and dry. Primed it with, masked it all off with like tin foil like I did when I was doing the engine block. Primed it, 2 coats of primer, 3 coats of red and then lacquer on top of that as well. And I just need to cut and polish it now, and that'll be done. Got the steering rack back in as well, which is cool. Cleaned up the center of it a bit. I haven't cleaned up the ends because I am going to replace those at a later date, so I just figured there was no need. They're okay. They're in very good working condition. I just figured I'll just leave them. I'm going to replace them at a later date anyway, but the centerpiece is all done now. It's all cleaned up, looking nice. Brand new Super Pro bushes on there as well, which is nice. Happy days. And then this, I hit down in here with, actually, I'm going to talk about the gearbox first, right? This was covered, absolutely packed, guys, in like grease, 33 years of road grime, engine grease that has leaked out, oil leaks, all that kind of crap that's leaked out over time. So what I did to clean it off is I've used almost an entire can of this, just spraying it on, leaving it for half an hour, agitating it with the Scotch-Brite and the wire brush, and then hosing it off. And you can see it's come up really well. There's still a little bit of, like, you know, just kind of like, I guess, like corrosion or discoloring. One thing I want to show you before I get stuck in and doing that is this bit here, right? So as you can see, I already cleaned off this side, and I did that with a wire wheel, and it stripped some of the paint off, so I had to repaint it in bits and pieces and stuff like that. But this side, what I did is I hit it with the oven cleaner yesterday. This bad boy, easy off. I know that in the UK, you guys, it's called Seal It Bang, isn't it? Well, in Australia, it's called easy off. All right, so, which I thought was funny. You probably don't. And I hit it with that, and I left it overnight. So I'm hoping now, if I spray it with a bit of degreaser, where's my degreaser spray bottle? Ah, here it is. If I just spray it with a bit of this, just to wet it a little bit. Oh, look at that. Comes off really, really nice. And all I had to do was leave it overnight, covered in oven cleaner. So there you go, guys. Oven cleaner is absolute king to clean off grime, grease, road crap, and all of that kind of stuff off your old Fords. So get amongst it with the oven cleaner. Let's get stuck in with cleaning off the rest of this gearbox, priming and painting.
Two hours later.
All right. So quite some time later, as the SpongeBob meme said, this hasn't cleaned up too bad. It actually looks pretty good. So what I think I'm going to do, because I will be upgrading the gearbox, because this is just the standard BC RS Turbo gearbox, and I can get the IB5 gearboxes here in Australia. I can also get the MTX 75 transmission because they came in our Ford Focus. So they are super cheap here in Australia. I almost got one for about 60 bucks because nobody wants them, and it went through the auction, and it wasn't damaged or anything like that. It was just a car that nobody wanted, so it went through the auction. And I almost got it for 60 bucks. It went for like $82. And I just forgot to check it. So, you know, my highest bid was like 60 bucks, and I just completely forgot to check it. So I can get those gearboxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to bother. Whoa, camera's slipping out. I'm not going to bother painting that box because I am going to upgrade it, like I said, and change it later on down the line. And It actually looks really good. I mean, I don't know how it's gonna look in the clean engine bay next to like the engine block and all that kind of stuff. I was kind of thinking like a stealth black for it, but I'm gonna leave it like that and I'm gonna see what it looks like. And if when I put the engine back in, I don't like it, I'll take it out and change it. But what I wanna show you guys is my adjustable brake bias. Some of you guys know that I plan on running 2 master cylinders. Now, with the 2 master cylinders, as I would imagine all of you would know, and the Cosworth brakes on the rear actually is what I imagine you'd all know, that because these cars are so light, kind of like 950 kilos light, putting the Cosworth disc brakes on the rear does cause the rear end to lock up a bit. But because I'm going with a big brake conversion on the front, I don't want to leave the drums on the rear and be too heavy, front heavy on the brakes. So I am going with the Cosworth brakes on the rear, but I'm going to need to have some kind of adjustable brake bias in order to control that, and that's what this is. So this bracket here is going to weld onto the end of my pedal, like lever on the stock pedal. And then here is basically a ball bearing on the shaft, let's call it. All right, so on the shaft there, move this out of the way. And the way that works is this slides in here, and then these go on this way, and then these screw on. And because these are what will screw into my push rod on my twin master cylinders, 2 brake master cylinders, right? And I'll just screw these in lightly. I'm not going to put them up as far as they would normally go, but you get the picture. So these will screw on, la la la, fast forward. All right, so they will screw on like that. And this is basically a cable, just like what you have on your push bikes to change brakes and stuff like that. And this screws on this end, and it's got a grub screw that will screw into that hole there to lock it in place. And then this will be in the cab, and when I adjust this, you can see that this is moving. So when I adjust it, these will be stuck on the master cylinder, 1 on each, and the push rod will turn, and you can see that the bearing in the center will come more to one side. You can see it moving there. And what that's going to do is that's going to adjust the pressure pushing on each master cylinder in an adjustable brake bias kind of way. So I hope that kind of explains that for you. But that there is what's going to help me overcome the locking up of the rear wheels when I put the discs on the rear, if they arrive in time, because I'm having trouble getting hold of those. Here's my little extenders as well, and I've got 2 Willwood master cylinders that are going to sit here inside of the engine bay. They're going to sit there. And then I've got remote reservoirs, 1 for each one, remote reservoirs, which the hose is going to come. And then the remote reservoirs are just going to be situated here, where the original brake booster was. So guys, that's the updates on where I'm at with my Ford Escort RS Turbo. Things are actually moving along really well now, starting to take shape, which is really cool. Should have the engine back in around about 3 or 4 weeks, because I'm moving house. Me and my partner have bought a different property. Still up here, same location. It's literally about, it's less than a kilometer away from this one. But it's a nicer property. There's more space, there's more garden. There's room for a huge 6x9 shed, which I'm really excited about. That's gonna go in. So yeah, lots to do before I move. If the car's not done, I can leave it here and trundle on over to keep going. And it is freaking hot, as you can see me sweating my tits off. Guys, that's all from me today. And the lovely weather here in Queensland, Australia. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. If you're not yet subscribed and you do like the content that comes up here on the channel, please make sure you do subscribe. Massively helps me out. And if you are watching at the end of this video and you're not subscribed, you clearly like what you see. So make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.